Archimex login confirmed.
Welcome to the Lodge. You've accessed
the Lodgecast experience.
Warning, warning, dangerous spoilers ahead. Enjoy.
Welcome to another edition of the Lodgecast. I am your Lodge Master. With me, as always, is Brother Bishki.
Good to be back.
And Brother Lucas.
Howdy.
Tonight, we have two very, very spooktacular guests. The Cine Sisters themselves. The Lodge Mistress Millie.
Hey, hey.
And for the first time on the cast, Sister Jessie.
Yellow.
Welcome.
How does it feel to be in the Prius?
Amazing. This is my first time, so I am just starry-eyed at the Prius.
Yeah.
You might want to take your jacket off, just as a pro tip, because even though we're sitting
at least
here,
for the long haul.
yeah, it tends to backfire on you eventually.
That's a good call.
Well, we are keeping the AC on in the Prius just so we can stay cool for 8th grade tonight.
Oh, to be fair, though, none of us were really that cool in 8th grade.
Well,
right?
that's something I want to bring up.
Especially when your 8th grade is a modular home with 20 students that you have to stick with for like 2 years.
Let's not dig too deep, but let's take a little roll call. Bishki, 8th grade, when someone says 8th grade to you, what does that mean?
It's like the fulcrum of my life. Like,
Ooh.
everything could have gone one direction or the other. And
Wow.
like, yeah, it's 8th grade's a very important year. So
Yes.
I'm looking forward to this movie.
Do you have good memories?
Mixed.
The fulcrum is a mixed bag.
Yeah, it was a mixed bag. But I'm interested to see, what 8th grade means to children nowadays.
It's totally,
because maybe the fulcrum is like 5th grade or something. I don't know. So we'll see.
Jesse, when someone says 8th grade, do you break out in hives, or are you like, oh, cool times?
You know, I was pretty darn awkward at that time. I think I probably had a terrible, short, home-cut haircut.
Home cut.
But I was also blossoming as a woman,
There you
so
go.
I was all awkward and don't look at me.
It's a good Pat impression.
But at the same time, it meant basketball. I was playing lots of basketball.
Cool.
And we were all super excited what high schools were going to go together. So
Sure.
choir nerds, theater nerds, that was my group.
Cool. Well,
Nice.
Lucas, what kind of cult shit are you talking about?
I grew up in Santa Cruz, which is a Bay Area, small, kind of like surfer town, and because of some really bad choices I made in elementary school, committing burglary, for instance, in the school library, which is a whole other story. I got booted from the public, which was great, that I was very happy and comfortable in, to the private, which coincidentally was only K through 6.
Okay.
So by the time I got to 6th grade, I was like, oh, I'm going to get out of here, thank God. And the motherfuckers were like, guess what? We decided to have a middle school because, we can make money off all your parents because there's tuition involved. And they literally just parked 2 modular trailers. So English and history was in one trailer, and math and science was the other trailer. So the class of 20 kids from 6th grade, we all stuck together. So by 8th grade, I had kissed all of them.
The men as well as the women.
It truly, I don't mean to sound derogatory, but it was truly peak boner time for me.
Peak boner time.
I mean, I have no control over my hormones. You could be getting dropped off at school and your car hits a bump and there's a boner.
I think it's PBT for most folks.
Yeah.
To be
So,
fair.
but I was the class clown. I was hyperactive, talkative, joking. I would get kicked out of class a lot. And what's weird about my 8th grade is there was a girl I was never friends with, her name was Christina. Anyway, she told the school I was bullying her, and it was this crazy,
timely.
I was accused, and I didn't know who she was, and I'm like, yeah, but I treat everyone the same way. I don't understand. I was
She probably just didn't get your sarcastic wit.
It was the crucible where I was convicted. I was literally, they had me in school suspension for a week where I had to go to the library, Breakfast Club style, and I didn't even know what I did. They wouldn't even tell me what the incident was, or what.
All right, well, we'll do a Mark Maron podcast just on you eventually.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But thank Thank you. Millie, what's 8th grade?
Let me tell you, 8th grade was when I was kind of the best. I was at the top of my career in
Don't
8th
be
grade.
too humble here.
You're popular?
But I wouldn't say I was popular, but I was 8th grade president. And
Nice.
I won best student in 8th grade.
Oh, nice.
Which every
Best
subject.
student?
Yes, I did.
Gross.
Every class had like a best at this and that, and I can't remember the other. I won 3, which is what edged me out. But let me tell you one that I won: best algebra. Yeah.
What?
Whoa. Yes.
I haven't
And it's-
seen any evidence of
well,
that lately.
that's what I'm saying, because it was all memorization.
Okay.
That's why.
True acting.
8th grade was a great year for me. I think
that's
about
pretty
it.
damn
I think
good.
about it a lot.
Okay. Well, briefly, for me, it was right around the time where I got a video camera and became the movie kid at school. So, Fulcrum City.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I just realized in 8th grade I wrote my first screenplay.
There you go.
Inspired by Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. It's called
No way.
It's called Adversaries.
No way.
We were going to remake Pulp Fiction in 8th grade. But
Oh, God.
We didn't get
So much Tarantino
Yeah, I
and
would
nut
actually
gargling
love to
around
see
that time.
I would have loved to have seen that.
But tonight, we're seeing 8th grade the movie.
Woo!
It's got a lot of festival hype.
Written and directed by Bo Burnham, a very young, talented
He's in
stand-up
his,
comedian.
in his
now
late
filmmaker.
20s, I think.
Yeah, he's a prodigy, man.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that it's getting good word of mouth, because that means he's got like a big, bright future ahead of him. That
So he's like 12 years removed from 8th grade. So it should be pretty
Raw.
Pretty raw. Everybody says raw. Should be pretty dialed in. I don't know. Like, I'm excited. I feel like this looks like the quintessential coming of age indie.
Yeah, I love the trailer. I love that they're using Enya in the trailer.
Yes.
And I'm glad it's getting good buzz. So
yeah, I'm also all I know about this movie is really the trailer, and what I was really taken by is the lead actress, this young girl they found, looks like a real kid. You know,
Yeah.
there's nothing Hollywood child actory.
She's
Disney.
almost like the Hereditary girl.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, but like,
little bit.
but not as bad. But like, yeah. I mean, I don't mean bad, but not as severe like character.
Not as real.
Not as real. Thank you.
I was just saying to Matt, like the other day, that like child actors are either hypersexualized or moon-faced.
That's true. And
interesting.
maybe this movie will deal with some of that.
It looks like this is going to be so awkward and
Relatable,
emotional,
grounded.
and I'm pumped.
Palpable, visceral. I'm very excited.
Well, I hope it fills all of our hearts with nostalgic cringe and or joy.
And I think we're going to be seeing it with a really good general audience too, because I noticed a lot of families showing up just now.
We're at the Landmark on the west side.
Yeah, so this is going to be an interesting group of people reacting in a very, I think, honest way.
They could be seeing Hotel Transylvania 3.
And they are.
But let's keep the dream alive. Maybe the
Okay.
families are coming out for an indie film.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
But yeah, we're gonna smoke this Steezy. What flavor is this?
Yo, this is biscotti.
Biscotti. Brought to you by Biscotti. We're gonna puff this up. Bishke, are you gonna smoke tonight?
No, I'm going to be the control.
You're gonna be the control.
I love the
it.
control group.
I love it.
Thank you.
Well, we are going to warp back to 8th grade. We're going to swim in that awkward pool and emerge with some opinions and maybe even some more memories. So sit tight. We'll be back.
Peace.
We will.
8th.
Second bells are ringing.
School's out, y'all. We are back.
Back.
We survived. We survived 8th grade.
We did it.
Sup?
I'm sure we all have a lot to say. There was some laughs, some tears. Before we break it down, Brother Bishke,
Yes.
what's that synopsis? We're down in close to the center of the earth in this parking ramp. All of our phones lost network.
Sub-level 3.
Brother Bishke, the gentleman, put us in the Prius, turned on the air, and then ran up to
Literally ran.
retrieve this
To
synopsis for you.
retrieve the Rotten Tomato synopsis, which is 13-year-old Kayla endures the tidal wave of contemporary suburban adolescence as she makes her way through the last week of middle school, the end of her thus far disastrous 8th grade year before she begins high school. That's it.
That's it.
Solid, rock solid.
Okay.
Well, thank you for going to retrieve that.
Yeah.
First off, packed theater.
Yeah.
Tuesday
Sold out.
Sold out. And there was a fracas scuffle in the lobby when we entered. I don't know what,
There
but
was
it
a
was
lot of
rowdy.
energy.
Wheelchair.
It was
who
rowdy.
Went. Yeah. So
A
there was energy.
Man in a wheelchair had knocked somebody down or something, and there was cops.
Or he
And
was out of his chair and maybe he was angry or embarrassed that everyone was looking at him or something. That's
so
kind
that
of what I got.
we
like,
had just smoked, and that put us on edge. And then we got in our seats, and then there was a very willful, by the book usher who was trying to get down to business and figure out why people weren't in their assigned seats. And
Yeah.
Very much like an 8th grade classroom.
Yeah, I felt like I felt like I was a
instantly-
kid.
Yeah, instantly. Yeah,
I felt like we were in trouble.
at fault.
yes,
We were.
well,
we were busted.
we were not at fault. There was two actually adolescent girls who came in and asked us. Well, their mom.
Their
asked
mom
us
was
nicely
very 8th grade,
switch
which is very.
seats.
Hence the
We
families
did.
I saw earlier.
Yeah.
But their mom left then.
Yeah. Then
She
was
dropped
like,
them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
It
dropped
was
off the 8th graders
A
at 8th
lot
grade and
of
took off.
a lot of teen girls in the audience.
Bishke kind of stood up for them because the usher was like, "You can't be sitting here. These aren't your tickets." And Bishke was like, "Relax, guy. Like everything's
said? Really?
fine." Yeah,
Bishke's like the cool high schooler.
I was very cool, which we'll get into later. I was very cool. I was very cool with these 8th graders, but we'll get into that.
Okay, all right. Okay, so plot-wise, I mean, it's just a big old slice of coming of age. I mean, it's all about little moments. It's not really plot-driven at all. It's 8th grade, the shit that girls go through, evidently, now.
Today, yeah.
Today.
Wow. Oh my God.
So many screens. So
Right.
much scrolling.
A crack screen that draws blood, which I
Oh,
never
my.
even knew was a
Oh, yeah.
thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Early in the movie, there's this girl lives with her dad, single dad, and she's constantly doing the angsty teen thing, trying to avoid his, comforting words, and he's just trying to do his best, and she's doing the surly teen thing, and she's looking at her crush on Instagram, and he opens the door, her dad opens the door, and she just throws her phone across the room just reflexively and cracks it. And that's her phone's cracked for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it was like the Chinatown nose cut.
Yep,
Yeah, it
exactly.
was a really cool, committed narrative kind of flourish.
Yeah, it was very effective. But what was everybody's first impression of this movie? Because it kind of just throws you right into it.
I mean, this girl can do awkward like I've never seen
she's
in my life.
She was
I
dialed
mean,
in,
she just scene for scene, like,
How did they find her?
I don't know.
It's
I don't
so
know.
Must have been a
perfect.
massive search. I think, if I remember correctly, it was the same casting director who did American Honey, who's kind of got like her finger on the pulse of real kids. Because
Right.
what I was very taken by from just the very beginning was how authentic all the actors were in the
yeah.
age range. Because I guess I'm so used to the Disney actors
Yeah.
that are older playing younger. So when
The
you
35-year-old is an 18-year-old.
so when you see them in 8th grade, they're like babies.
They
It's
are
like,
babies.
was I ever
They're
this
not
young?
formed yet.
Was I ever this young?
Yes.
Like, I was not this little. I could not have been.
God, it's so true, and it's so
Yeah.
effective because even the hot guy who's an 8th grader, you're like, that guy's not hot, but he was 8th grade hot, and you remember that, and the music swells when he comes on stage, but he's such a goofball 8th grader. It hit me in the heart, man. It hit me in the guts.
That's I thought one of the most effective things in the movie was they'll just blast you with music every once in a while, which is like funny in and of itself, but it's also very effective. Like every time she sees this scrawny weirdo that she loves, like it just blasts into this electronic music and then arbitrarily cuts off.
Yeah, I thought it was very appropriate because it felt like the soundtrack or score was like tailored for the millennial, like the kids that are so fucking distracted. He's like trying to get your attention, and it's like it is thrilling. Like it was definitely visceral, effective aesthetic.
Jesse, what were your thoughts in the early going?
Well, I thought it just hit all the marks of ringing true. I felt all those mixed up weird feelings that she was feeling. Like I mentioned, like in the pre-thing, like, you know, you're a girl, so you've got sort of boobs now, but you don't want to acknowledge them, and you don't want, you know, you're comparing yourself to every other girl in the class, and like there's a scene where she's got to go to this pool party, and that's the most intimate thing a kid can do at a party.
It's relatable to everybody.
It's like awful. So she's in this one piece, and all the other girls are in two pieces, and they're just like frolicking in the pool.
A lot of frolicking.
Just it just all rang true. Like, even though this is a later generation and her hallmarks of like, oh, she's got a Bieber poster. Mm-hmm. Well, we had Jonathan Taylor Thomas posters.
It may as well be JTT.
Oh, absolutely.
It was the same.
I had Vicky
same
Vale.
feelings in a different time. And the only thing that really sticks out is the screens. And I was thinking, thank God I didn't have
Oh,
this
man.
when
Oh
I
my
was
God.
That was
Oh
in
my
my
God.
comments.
That's exactly what I would be
Same.
like in so much trouble, I think. Like I might
Because not
be in
only have
jail.
to endure the face-to-face like intimidation, but the zero views on the YouTube video.
that hurt.
Yeah.
And you know the single digit views are like her probably watching her own videos. I mean, it was so scarily like accurate. I was like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, we can definitely relate to that. I just have to say, like, I feel like and I say this a lot to my friends, so bear with me if you've heard this before, but I feel like our general technology trajectory has been amazing.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, and they cover this in the movie, which is brilliant. To be born into the internet and to be born into
Generation Z, I think they call it.
Oh my
And
God.
into the mobile phone, like in the last, like they said, like they meet with some high schoolers later in the movie, and they're like, they're a different generation than we were 5 years ago, when she's referring to the 8th grader, and it's true. They didn't, 5, 6, 7 years ago, there was no social media on the scale that it is right now, and this movie captures.
Right. And in the movie, they break it down to different apps. Like, oh, we had Twitter, but the generation before us didn't. Yeah. She had Snapchat, so that makes her different.
Yeah.
It seems kind of inconsequential, but to these people, you feel how important it is during this movie. Like, it's life and death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get one view or one like, or 2 views and 2 likes, that's huge.
Yeah.
Or to
not DMing someone in Instagram
to get
or
a DM or to get a follow back.
Yeah.
Oh, like you feel it.
And the pain.
And I'm just so happy we didn't have to deal with that. My God.
I mean, but it was so amazing because it really still felt like you were in 8th grade with all those boys like catcalling and not showing them, but hearing their voices, like making all the jokes for the teachers, like in the audience. So 8th grade, like so middle school, like, God, I just felt that,
It's universal. It's like
good.
the drum beat. Like everybody just inherently knows certain aspects of this time period in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
wow.
I think we were all kind of cringing when it's the scene she's just hung out with these high schoolers and she's getting a ride home, and the older girl, like, offers, maybe we should drop her off first, but she's trying to be cool, so she's like, no. And so this guy's driving her home, and he puts the moves on her, and she's...
Oh, took a turn. I was like, I was getting
He's
very
playing truth or dare with her, and it's just...
It's dark. It's literally dark.
It's literally dark. Like, you just,
sinister.
You just see his eyes gleaming in the darkness of
like
the
a
back
jackal.
seat.
Like, just so well done.
And also, he kind of dissed her earlier as well, which made it all... I was a little nervous because of that.
Her.
Yeah, he negged her a little...
Yeah.
But this
movie goes places. I mean, it makes you confront a lot of tough, sensitive issues, and I was kind of grateful and relieved that there were, like, parents and kids, I think, seeing it together, because there's a lot of topics that have to be really hard to broach, but if you maybe go see it, it's got good reviews, and you go home on the drive home, like, even when we were walking out, I could hear parents asking their kids, like, what'd you think, or what'd you think, and everyone, it was okay, or, I mean, it was, like, all over the place, but
They should show it in school.
But yeah, they should. They should, honestly, because I was just amazed at like how, again, like honest and real and authentic and just.
But there's restraint too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the guy doesn't like rape her.
No,
They
no,
just-
thank God.
But he doesn't
thank God.
have to
He doesn't
for
have
it
to.
to be
No.
that big a deal to her because she's only in 8th grade and
Yeah, that's
every
terrifying.
word and every moment of that scene is like huge to her.
Yeah.
It's-
This is the first like adolescent movie I've seen where there's been no friends to confide in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I
And
know.
it was so painful
Yeah.
to see her going through. I mean, just cringeworthy. I'll say cringeworthy to see her going through all these awkward moments without having an outlet for.
She has her videos.
Yeah.
She has her videos, and that's
Yeah.
it. And her dad a little bit, but
Oh, it hurt.
It really
Yeah.
hurt. I definitely felt for her. Like I just was so empathetic.
But there's a surprising, like I said, it shows restraint, but there's also a surprising edge to it. Like the kid that she has a crush on turns out to kind of be a doofus, but she
He's good.
still
He's
likes
good.
him, and she finds out that he likes getting nude pictures texted to him, so she tries to tell him, hey, I got nude photos on my phone, and then that finally gets his attention, and he's like, you give blowjobs? Like just shit like that where you're like, oh yeah,
So
well,
it's so shocking. It's like I never would expect that reaction or that
But it's
beat. And
probably
it's like we're going
realistic.
There. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
You know?
totally is. It's like
Yes.
going there and you're like, oh my god.
And then there's a school shooting drill that's happening just kind of casually in the background.
was kind of
Routine. It was like
It's very
mundane.
routine.
Yeah, and that's another reality I've never thought about. And I'm like, oh right, this is the new normal.
But
And I'm
that's-
thinking like,
Right.
oh my
It's great how they
God,
handle
this
it
is dark.
just as like a tornado drill. You know?
Yes, kids always getting under their desks.
Dude, they were making fun of the guy like from South Park. There's like these jokes about it, and it's like, oh, okay.
yeah.
And then every time there's an assembly, a kid in the background yells, "LeBron James!" So good.
Yeah.
Even at the school shooting.
No, in the
assembly.
beginning when the teacher or whatever is like, "Are you my mom?" It's like something I would say.
God.
Like that was
Yeah.
me.
Everything.
But they don't show the kid. That's what I love.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
a voice.
Yeah, that's what makes it real.
Yeah.
That's what makes it.
Everything
Yeah.
just feels on point as far as the realism of the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's
Yeah.
got acne, and her
Oh,
teeth
so
aren't
good.
perfect,
It's
and
beautiful.
she hasn't figured out her style yet, and it's just so great.
And there's no like cliched like, oh, I got my period for the first time scene,
No.
or like the single dad. They don't dwell or like they don't use that as a crutch.
It
you
feels
know?
like this movie's blazing new cliches that now movies that try to do this.
Yeah,
It really did
establishing
feel,
new
yeah,
ones.
like John Hughes. I mean, like it felt
Oh,
very.
dude, totally.
It felt very iconic. It
Yeah.
felt like
Yeah.
it's gonna be like a touchstone. Like
Absolutely. No,
mean-
that's what I was thinking when I was watching it. I was thinking, oh my God, I grew up with 16 Candles, which
Yeah.
for the record I love and think is,
Problematic.
3.5 bones.
Problematic.
Definitely hashtag problematic. I don't want to get into it. But I was watching this going, oh my God, this is for this new generation.
me too.
and it works so much better. And it's so much greater than what Hughes ever could attempt or try to do or whatever, because he was like a definite toxic male.
Bold statement. Do you agree with that, Bishy?
But
Well, I relate this movie a lot to like Welcome to the Dollhouse.
Okay.
they did have those, that
Yeah.
influence, the Todd Solondz influence for sure.
Yeah, the humor gets you on that cringe level. But it was just the focus on her made it more, a little more personal, not so much kind of just a overall dark satire. But what do we think of the dad? What do you think? Do you think?
Well, this is my only criticism. I mean, I have a couple to nitpick, but the big major one is the characterization of the single dad, who I assumed wrongly was a widower because he was such an affable, nice guy. I'm like, there's no way a woman would leave this dude. Like, not in a million years. Then they slip out at the end. Like when mom left, I'm going, what? Like really? Like mom just went to the store for a pack of smokes and just never came back?
I was kind of hoping that they wouldn't even mention the mom. And
I
that
was
too.
too.
I was
really hoping to. Yeah.
I was like,
When's
is
it gonna
this
happen?
movie so ahead
Yeah.
of it that it knows that we don't give
so
a
we
shit?
don't need it.
so
Yeah.
self-assured, and I'm
Yeah.
glad that when they did reveal, it was just that one.
It was just a
line.
little
It was
bit.
like a throwaway line. If you don't pay attention, you might
Was it
miss
needed?
it. Yeah.
You
And
know,
it-
I was
yeah.
thinking maybe the dad isn't very fleshed out because this is from her perspective, and kids are naturally so selfish.
That's
Sure.
true.
Mhm.
And it's like all
point.
you need to know is how he interacted with her. And like there's a scene at dinner, like he's trying his best to have a conversation with her and ask her about her day, but all she wants is to be on her phone because that is her life.
Right.
And I just thought it was funny, like, this is what all kids do is if they have like an issue, they take it out on their parents.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
your
You
have
parents
to.
are just trying to maybe get to know you a little better. Or they're doing their best.
Right.
And her modus operandi is being annoyed and like, oh, Dad, stop.
But it's kind of cool
that's
how you
true.
see her slowly realize that isn't really the coolest way to be.
She grows up in a lot of ways by the end of it. She comes to realize things about herself, her dad.
And that scene with them in the fire, I mean, I was bawling my damn eyes out, and I wanted to like because the things he says about her are true, and you see it in the movie, but they're really simple things, like you care about other people. You know, I forgot what the other ones were, but it was so believable, and I was like, and she really heard it. Oh, I loved it. I fucking loved it.
I identified with the dad. I'm like, how would I get through to a surly girl? I would try to just tell her she's the best, you know? Like, this doesn't matter right now. And then I'm like, well, I'm seeing how that works out in real time.
Yeah.
If I could give the 8th graders perspective,
Oh, yeah.
I sat next to 2 8th graders,
Yes.
and at the 30-minute point, the 8th grader right next to me, I don't know if you could see from your peripheral vision,
I could.
but
Was there a phone?
she
Yeah.
pulled her phone
the
out.
entire time, like the entire
and,
time.
and for an hour.
like
no.
she was like taking pictures. Like she was like
I
doing
was
all
and,
kinds.
Scream?
In
I
any
think
other
so,
in any
yeah.
other movie, I would have snapped on her, but or I would have not snapped on her.
But this was like
but I wanted to be
4DX,
cool. I wanted to be the cool guy
The cool guardian.
who was like the cool guardian whose mom
landmark guardian.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna let you do that, and I'm also gonna view what you pay attention to in this movie.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm also gonna view what apps you are looking at. So
Oh,
she was on
shit.
Oh,
Snapchat.
wow.
She was on Instagram.
Okay.
She was
my
she was
God.
playing games. She was But then she would come back and like highlights of the movie. She would come
Okay,
back.
so
in-
what did she come back for?
car suit
banana
guy.
the banana
Oh,
scene.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh
yes.
my god.
So the guy asks her if she gives blowjobs, and she considers a banana for a while.
That was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
so
and,
crazy.
And that brought her back into it
Okay.
for a little bit.
Then when did she tune out?
Pretty much the rest of the movie.
Oh, shit.
Like it was
The
in
dad
and
convo
it
was-
in
she
and
was out, right?
No, she was way out by that. Yeah. But
Man.
what can I say? Her mom left her there. Her mom was not there to tell her to put her phone away. So
Do you think her mom would have?
I mean, I heard people behind me saying stuff, but at a certain point, I was like, I can't just after
No.
a half an hour of her playing on her
Oh,
phone, be
man.
like, hey.
I've given you 30 minutes. You got to give me 30.
What about the other girl?
I think the other girl was into it. She didn't have her phone out.
Okay.
But they were
that's good.
talking back and forth. So
Oh, man.
anyway, that
She
was
seemed to get really
that was
excited
the
towards the end before the movie concluded, where she was like slapping her knee, but not at the movie. It was like her and her friend were like sharing a joke, and she was just doing this, and I was like, what am I missing? Like that I don't. Yeah, it was.
Anyway, that was the eighth
stuff.
Yeah.
That was the 8th grade stuff.
Yeah, it was
going on
residual.
next to me.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
yeah.
glad you were being a respectful voyeur
Yeah.
into the 8th grade mind of an 8th grade girl. Let's see. Yeah, does anybody else? It seems like this is a pretty big love fest. Does anybody else have any nitpicks?
I mean, it's interesting. Like Millie loves the dad scene at the end, and that was probably the only scene I didn't love because I thought again it was too on the nose or
was.
sentimental or saccharine or something. I thought, man, I wish it didn't go this hard.
but don't you think it kind of needed an emotional climax?
Yeah, for sure. Because I felt like the movie was great, but it didn't really go to like too intense a place. It always kind of felt even keel with the anxiety and the stress and the awkwardness and
Well, that's also the thing. It's like this movie is choosing to focus on, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but like a middle of the road girl where she's not super troubled and
Right.
like
She's not bulimic,
she's not
God,
cutting herself,
yeah,
but
yeah.
she's not popular at all either. So it's like not sensational. So you don't get the highs and lows are micro highs and micro lows that cut just as deep.
Oh my god, that's what I was gonna say.
But it's not like fireworks.
I was
So-
way more stressed in this than like any superhero movie. I mean, every moment I was like fucking on edge because it was like they were so small, the details, but they would take them that extra level. Like with the banana scene, it's like bad enough that the dad comes in and he's like, "But you don't like bananas," and then she eats the banana. It was like, I mean, they just
And she throws it at him when she's
going deeper and deeper. Like it was so good, but it was so small. Like it was good writing.
Definitely,
I mean,
absolutely. It didn't feel like writing, which is
Right.
the
yes,
best kind.
Lucas,
Like
you're
it
right.
all felt like we
Yeah.
were watching a Frederick Wiseman documentary,
Yes.
like high school or something.
Yeah.
I loved it too when like the popular girl's mother had to flag her down and
Yep.
ask her to come to the popular
Girl in the
party.
yellow shirt.
That was a
Simply-
Rushmore callback,
Simply
wasn't it?
because
Pretty much, yeah.
she you could tell she had a crush
Yes,
on the
so
girl's
good.
dad, and there's just this moment when she shows up to the party.
Oh
and
yeah,
the
I
mom is
caught that. Yeah,
so excited
and it's like
because she
muted.
thinks-
You can't really hear what she's saying, but she's like,
Yeah, and she thinks the dad's there.
she's
but
like looking out. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
like looking out on the porch stoop.
those little details, and they
Yeah.
didn't fully flesh it out. Like they didn't
No.
over-explain, but those small
That is
details
too
were really
funny.
great.
Yeah. That was great.
Let's talk bones, guys.
Sure.
Let's kick it off with Jessie. Sister
Okay.
Jessie.
So I need a little clarification on the bone system.
Brother Lucas.
I will be happy to.
Wind him up and,
And
let
for
him
our
go.
listening audience, here we
Yeah,
go.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I really love this. So it's a
Wait, hold on. Not
Yeah.
to put ice on you right
No.
at the get up, but is there a salad dragon scene?
Oh,
Let's define that too while we're at it.
wondering that.
Salad dragon scene is a movie.
The most
Jump on the
lodge-worthy
shark?
moment.
Yeah,
Yes.
to me, it's got to be the banana, right? The banana scene.
I mean, is there one? The whole movie's kind of a salad dragon like cringe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Although, you know, one of my favorite scenes were actually what might have been the salad dragon scene was the kind of like epilogue coda where she goes on her first like friend date or whatever.
Yeah.
That was so good.
And that kid they found
Oh,
was
amazing.
so genius.
Comic genius.
I want to see
Yeah.
the two of them do a movie together, like after
Yeah.
this, with some
Yeah.
like with Bo Burnham,
In
like
high school.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
think-
they had chemistry. It was amazing.
I think we'll just call it the banana scene, but I don't know. That's just
We'll have
one
to think about it,
one
'cause I
peak in a
didn't
field
know.
of many peaks.
Yeah.
oh,
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Continue
So,
with the bone.
So the bones.
Bone
It's
explanation.
a scale of 0 to 4. A 0 being a woof, which means there's no redeeming value at all. Watching your neighbors travel movies would be more entertaining. Maybe redeemed by unintentional stretches of amusement. 1 bone is a poor use of film script sets, actors, and studio vehicles. 2 bones may be perfectly delightful for certain tastes, a waste of time for others, usually uninspired genre films. 2.5 bones is technically well made, but often standard fare, won't make you yell at the screen too much. 3 bones is good story, fine acting, decent return on movie investment, would recommend to family members, even distant cousins.
I have to change my bone count.
3.5 bones, memorable cinematic fare made with flair, verve, sheen, polish, and panache.
Wow.
Would recommend to friends. 4 bones, highest cinematic expression, flawless or nearly so, would recommend to complete strangers on the street.
That was a very
shit.
thorough description.
And there's a Roger Ebert Memorial half bone.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
the Roger Moore.
If you need to pull
If
that
you
out.
need it.
but
If you need it.
I don't think we're going to need it tonight,
No,
but yeah.
no.
I have to give it 3.5 because I loved the style of this movie. I thought it was very well directed. Chose a great actor to lead it, and had verve and style, and I'd recommend it to a bunch of friends.
Lodge mistress.
I too am gonna say, well, let me just say this really fast, which is that it's amazing to me, this movie, because she had no friends. She was super lonely. She was this like acne-ridden teenager. But oh my God, every person in that theater was like, that is me.
Yep.
And like for that alone, I mean, that was just, it was so amazing. Like, I don't know, I really, this movie, I just wanted to afterwards be private and cry because I thought it was so great. I cried all through that scene, one of her first date. Like, it was just, I loved it. But I'm still gonna give it 3.5 because I don't know. 4 has to be like have to burst the heavens, and this was really probably my favorite movie I've seen in a long time though. 3.5.
Didn't burst them heavens though.
Didn't burst the heavens.
Brother Lucas, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm with the gals, the sisters back here. I'm 3.5 bones as well. I was very taken by it from the opening shot and the soundtrack. I mean, it was like all great. I think what I really love most about it is the message of just be yourself and don't worry, like basically what she tells herself at the beginning and end of the movie. Like, it's just so positive and inspiring, and hopefully will be, a beacon of light for all, these young teeny bopper, whatever the hell they're called these days,
Tweeny bopper.
That there is a shoreline, there is a shore nearby, and you just got to weather the storm, so 3.5 for sure. Brother Bishke.
Yeah, I mean, laughed a lot, enjoyed the direction, enjoyed all the actors. The dad I thought was maybe the weakest link, but almost all the other kid actors were a lot of fun in it. I cringed a lot, and the awkward cringeness of it, like, my stomach kind of still hurts a little bit.
Great.
Just because it was so, gets to that. And so when I came out of it, I can't say that I was like, wasn't necessarily like by the end like enjoyable, but it was an experience. 3 bones.
All right.
Whoa, okay.
Very good.
All right. This is a 4-bone movie, you guys. You guys are being ridiculous.
Raising the
But just for the
stakes.
record, these are rare. These are like really, really
And
rare.
I've
This is the
contemplated
first 4-bone of the cast.
We should make a book of 4-bone movies just for us.
I've contemplated it, and it's 3.5 or 4 for me. And when I think about it, it's like, what did you set out to do with this movie? Did you achieve it? Holy shit!
That's a great point, actually.
Like, right down the line.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could possibly make this movie any better.
true.
Like, I enjoyed every second of it. I love to feel uncomfortable. Lodge Mistress knows this. I love cringe. I love awkwardness, and oh my god, I was just bathing in it. Oh, there were bubbles and heat.
Absolutely.
Oh, it was so right.
Yeah.
So, and it's only going to get better as you think back fondly.
I want the
nostalgically on
soundtrack.
it.
I want to listen to these songs.
I want to live in this movie. It's great. So, if you're listening to this, I think it's clear.
Yes.
Yeah, go see it.
We
It
haven't
demands
spoiled
to be seen.
anything. It doesn't matter.
And honestly,
just go.
out of all the screenings we've been to, I was telling Milia, this beats Acrimony. Like we went to see Acrimony, and it was a rowdy kind of, like, before this movie started, there were like people talking. I heard someone's dad be like, quiet, and I was like, this is great. Like, this definitely
The theater
like,
was buzzing, but it was buzzing in a positive way.
Yeah.
Acrimony was acrimony. It was like the yin.
That's why it's better.
To acrimony's yang. Both valid.
And my favorite memory that I will cherish and take with me forever is when the fracas was happening, when we were walking in. I was at concessions and I looked to the cashier and I was like, man, there's a lot of action here tonight, huh? And the guy was like, you at the Landmark, don't you ever forget it.
Yeah, this is a dangerous theater now.
Yeah.
Well, great guys. I feel life affirmed.
Oh, yeah.
That's not always the case.
Yeah.
You know what I want to do? I feel like going and making a time capsule.
Yeah.
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 We should. I think at the Lodgeversary this year.
Oh.
Very good.
You should have been doing that the whole time.
I know. Well,
Oh my God.
We'll start this
We
year.
bury it on the land.
Bury it on the land.
They won't know there's so many bunny holes.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
We're definitely gonna do that, and we recommend everybody, in your own special way, maybe make a time capsule, just so you can check in, and you're gonna cringe, but that's part of the fun.
Yes.
Well, we're full of love and light, guys. The Cine Sisters, wonderful having
Thanks
you
for
guys
coming.
on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I think we'll be hearing a lot more of you guys on this particular podcast. The summer of love and light continues. We got more hits coming.
Lots of movies.
We got some peaks and valleys.
Some
Oh
good,
my
some
God.
bad, some ugly.
Y'all ain't even ready. Y'all ain't even
We got
ready.
some curveballs coming.
But until then, go see the fuck out of 8th grade
Please.
and spread love and light to each and every person that you see. We love you.
Love and light. Gucci.
Gucci.
Memorable real cinematic fare made with flair, verve, sheen, polish, and panache.